Since the start of the war, tensions between Russia and Ukraine have escalated to unprecedented levels. Moscow is now on the defensive as a result of Ukraine's strategic actions, particularly its attacks on key locations in Russian-occupied Crimea. Russia alleged that Ukraine attempted multiple ATACMS missile strikes against the Crimean Bridge in recent days. This claim asserts that 12 ATACMS missiles were fired at the Kerch Bridge, which has become a significant symbolic and psychological target in the conflict between Kyiv and Russia, but Russian air defense systems repelled them. So what happened on the night of August 16th, and why does Ukraine want to launch this type of attack? What would happen to Russia and the surrounding area if the Russian accusation proves correct and this attack is successful? Let's look at the details together. One of the largest air attacks since the start of the conflict, Ukraine's massive and multifaceted offensive on Crimea demonstrates its exceptional military power. On August 16th, the state news agency RIA Novosti quoted the Russian Ministry of Defense, which said that Russia had shot down 12 ATACMS missiles that Ukraine had launched the previous night as part of its attack on the Crimean Bridge. After Moscow took the peninsula, President Vladimir Putin ordered the construction of the historic Crimean Bridge. Russia claimed on Friday that it had repelled a nighttime attack of 12 American-made missiles. 12 American-made ATACMS missiles attacked the Crimean Bridge last night in a coordinated attack that was repelled using air defense systems. All the rockets were destroyed. Putin inaugurated the bridge in 2018, which connects the Krasnodar district in southern Russia with the city of Kerch in Crimea. Since Moscow began its military assault in February 2022, Kyiv has launched and attempted multiple attacks against the Kerch Bridge. 5 naval drones heading towards Crimea were destroyed by helicopters in the Black Sea, according to a report released by the Russian Ministry of Defense on Friday. After Russia annexed Crimea, the Crimean Bridge was illegally constructed to connect the Russian mainland with the city of Kerch, located at the easternmost point of the Crimean Peninsula. After invading Crimea in Ukraine in 2014, Russia built an illegal bridge over the Kerch Strait. There are 2 crossings, one for vehicles and one for trains, on the Crimean Bridge that connects Russia and Crimea. Ukraine has repeatedly declared that this crossing is illegal and that the armed forces have a legitimate target in this area. There have been at least 2 successful attacks on the Crimean Bridge. The first attack on the Crimean Bridge occurred the day after Vladimir Putin turned 70, on October 8, 2022. It involved a truck wrapped in aluminum foil loaded with explosives. The Crimean Bridge was damaged during an explosion on October 8, 2022. But the Russian newspaper Meduza claimed the next day that it was still one of the safest places in the world, protected from space, land, sky, sea, and underwater environments. In the late afternoon of July 6 to 17, 2023, Ukraine launched its second attack on the bridge using surface drones as part of an operation known as Sea Baby. Later, it was revealed that the Russians had placed barges south of the Crimean Bridge to serve as roadblocks to prevent Ukrainian naval drones from crossing the bridge. The Russian accusations were made just hours after the military administration of Odessa province in Ukraine declared that there were indications that Ukraine had successfully attacked a ferry crossing at midnight in the city of Kerch in Russian-occupied Crimea. The operation targeted military facilities in Kerch and Svaropol, as well as critical infrastructure, such as the important ferry crossing connecting Crimea and Krasnodar. Russian officials claim to have shot down some of the approaching drones over the Black Sea, prompting Sevastopol to activate air defense systems in response. But the damage was already done, and widespread fear spread due to the explosions at important locations throughout the Crimean Peninsula. The region was shaken by the coordination and reach of the attacks, which surprised Russian officials. Traffic on the Kerch Bridge, which connects Crimea with mainland Russia, was significantly disrupted by the attacks, leading to mass evacuations, traffic jams, and the temporary closure of the bridge. Around 2 in the morning, traffic was temporarily halted on the Kerch Strait Bridge, Crimea local time, severely obstructing the crucial bridge connecting Crimea and Russia. The bridge was reopened around 7 in the morning, local time, after the closure, but the smoke from the explosions near the bridge frightened local residents. From the ferry crossing point, a dense column of smoke began to rise as a series of explosions occurred near Kerch. According to local news sources, an attack occurred against a Pantsir S-1 air defense system situated on top of Mount Murdat. Shortly after the incident, a large fire began following explosions in the Chianka district near Sveropol. A massive fire started, and sirens were heard in the city of Feodosia as the repercussions of the incident spread across Crimea. Helicopter patrols flew over the area, demonstrating the extent to which the explosions and conflicts had affected the region. At 4:31 and 4:59, 2 explosions and major confrontations shook the area. According to US authorities, the use of long-range weaponry in Crimea against vital Russian military facilities and significant targets in Ukraine could have a more significant effect on the course of the war. In Crimea, there are crucial military installations, supply routes and waterways connecting Russian-occupied areas. US President Joe Biden said that Russian President Vladimir Putin faces a real dilemma as a result of Ukraine's attack in Kursk, and highlighted that the measure puts Putin in a more challenging situation and severely damages Russia's war plan. Meanwhile, Ukrainian defense intelligence hinted at the surrender of the Russian fleet in Crimea. The Ukrainian-built Magura 15 naval attack drone attacked 18 ships of the Russian Black Sea Fleet in a year and a half. In an interview with Chvele, the commander of the Zero Destiny Special Forces Unit, also known as the 3rd Dermo, revealed details about the UAV's functionality and plans for its enhancement. It is said that the main weapon of the Special Forces Unit Group 13 is the Magura OB-5. Its warhead weighs 250 kg and can travel over 800 km at a speed of 80 km/h. Defense intelligence claims that 9 of the 18 Russian ships attacked by the drone were permanently destroyed. The Russian Black Sea Fleet in Crimea surrendered. The Russian Federation has already withdrawn all the most modern and necessary equipment from Sevastopol, leaving the fleet immobilized. Despite its inability to perform its functions, it still consumes money from the Russian budget, it added. According to the Special Forces Unit commander, the Defense Intelligence Services did not attempt to increase the warhead to destroy the ships in one blow, but used 5 or more UAVs to attack large ships of the Russian Black Sea Fleet, causing severe damage. The Magura BO-5 is difficult to detect by Russian radar systems due to its small size. The Magura B-5 drones can approach the enemy closely. Most of the time, when the Russians detect a UAV, it is already too late. The Russians are arming their ships with machine guns and even using aircraft to combat naval drones. This is a significant achievement, said the defense intelligence officer, as part of the enemy's aviation is occupied with patrols in the Black Sea and does not participate in other combat missions. The Defense Intelligence Service aims to equip drones with additional armament in addition to expanding their autonomy and range. Work in this area has already begun. Everything imaginable can be installed here. Engineering solutions are gradually developed and then tested in real combat. Therefore, nothing prevents the creation of a 30-kilometer advantage instead of the current 18 to 19 kilometers of autonomy, revealed the commander. Additionally, Ukrainian drones have shown effectiveness against the Russian fleet in Crimea due to their ability to operate in any weather and adverse maritime conditions. Ukrainian drones have demonstrated success in their operations due to their specialized equipment and advanced intelligence acquired through private and government funding. Ukraine obtained equipment and means for the development and production of these UAVs through government and private sector investments, and the US military has significantly supported these UAV capabilities. The result is evident. The Russian fleet in Crimea was partially destroyed and other ships are damaged. This situation may indicate that the war is changing direction and that new weapons and UAVs play a crucial role. This is the main reason why specialists believe that Russia faces a real dilemma and that Ukraine's attack in Crimea could change the course of the war.